I just heard Prime Minister's version that what I promised I'm going to, मैंने उसके लिए hard work कर रहे हैं. Past 10 years, there's acute unemployment crisis in the country.
I think the Congress needs to realize its own track record, and one of the reasons why their promises don't hold is that they have a very poor deliverance.
Congress has made it already very clear that the details will be laid out in the Congress manifesto soon.
What is the Congress doing on the other hand? Dividing people on the basis of caste by asking people that आपका नाम शिव प्रसाद है तो आप तरक्की नहीं करोगे.
Congress has a really uphill task to establish the credibility of its idea.
There is a fundamental and a paradigm difference between the way we view our youth and between the way the Congress views the youth.
Let me come to you, Jebi Mathur, first, because the Congress today is making this big pitch, saying that we are going to provide jobs to all, we are going to have a right to apprenticeship, 30 lakh government jobs will be made available to the youth. You are talking about the gig economy being given social security. There will be those who will say, look, the Congress party had a long time in power. A lot of this could have been implemented when you were in power, either in the center or states. Rajasthan, one of your states, had one of the worst unemployment rates in the country. So how does the Congress have how do we trust the Congress that you will act on these promises?
We have a clear plan, and that plan is what is being rolled out today for the youth. And why did we roll out this plan? Because past 10 years, there's acute unemployment crisis in the country. And if you look at it, we are at a 45-year unemployment high. Nobody can deny that. Now I just heard Prime Minister's version that that what I promised I'm going to, मैंने उसके लिए hard work कर रहे हैं. क्या मेहनत कर रहे हैं? If he was hard working, how would the unemployment become a 45-year-old high? So the hard fact is, we have an issue. That issue is we have unemployment crisis. And when there is unemployment crisis, what's the plan? Now the present government, if they had a plan, they should have implemented it in the 5-10 years they are in government, which they didn't do. They miserably failed in all their efforts. That is why we have the unemployment crisis.
There will be those who will say that many of these promises, you could have had a model state. You could have built Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, any state as a model state. Why didn't you do it then?
We have already brought in Karnataka and also in Telangana.
How does the BJP now combat when the Congress talks of a Rozgaar to all, that they will create a right to apprenticeship?
Good evening, Rajdeep. Good evening, everybody. Even before I come to specific data, let me say this with all responsibility, that there is a fundamental and a paradigm difference between the way we view our youth and between the way the Congress views the youth. For the first time in our country, we have been talking of a vision for the next 20-25 years where the youth of this country will be at the core of executing that vision. Today, India has approximately 1.95 crore first-time voters out of 97 crores, which means approximately 2%. And these people are going to be at the core of executing our Viksit Bharat plans. So taking them into account, while we are setting the agenda for an aspirational society, just look at, our investments in sports, just look at our investments in the space technology. In fact, right now, 1 hour ago, we have, the cabinet has introduced an AI policy worth 10,000 crores worth of investment. What is the Congress doing on the other hand? Dividing people on the basis of caste by asking people that आपका नाम शिव प्रसाद है तो आप तरक्की नहीं करोगे. So that's point number one. There is a fundamental difference. Now let me come to some data. The unemployment rate is at its 4-year low as substantiated by a comprehensive SBI report. It is at 3.2%. If you look at the regular ESIC data, which talks about enrollment into, government enrollment, as per the last December data, there was an 18% increase for that month alone. Mm-hmm. So there was 18 lakh new people added to the workforce. Thirdly, when you have a capex expenditure of 11 lakh crore per year, that simply cannot be jobless growth. But yes, the nature of employment today has changed. Gig economy is bigger in chunk than ever before, which somehow the Congress party is unable to comprehend. So I think, all of these factors taken into
the problem with numbers and data is you can cherry pick from whichever institution, you get those numbers and claim that we brought unemployment down. But Shankar Iyer, give us a more objective perspective of unemployment. Is this a pitch which can work in today's India? The Congress claiming that they'll bring a Rozgaar revolution. The BJP saying we are bringing a Viksit Bharat. Do you believe that the unemployment situation actually on the ground is just too complicated and political parties, there are no quick fix solutions? All that many parties want, like in Maharashtra, is reservations, back to reservations, more and more reservation.
Well, there is data and then there is data, Rajdeep. So you can torture data and ask it to say anything that you want it to say. But the simple fact is that every opinion poll of India today in the past 3 years has flagged unemployment at the top of the list. What is the reason why every political party in every state is offering some kind of welfare measure, freebies, revdi, whatever the opposition or the ruling front wants to call it? The fact is that even in Delhi and the extension of the free food program, the extension of the Ujjwala program, the extent of welfare shows that there is some distress at the bottom of the pyramid. Joan Robinson used to say that everything that you say about India, the opposite is equally true. And so when you go to the data, you find that private consumption is at 3%. Two of the largest employers in the country, agriculture and services, are not doing well.
You've got to walk the talk in states where you're in par. Karnataka is a good example where number of government jobs still remain unfilled. He also raises the issue of the detailing. When you say we will provide a right to apprenticeship to those graduates who are not getting employment, how are you going to do it? When you say that you're going to provide social security benefits to all gig economy workers, people will raise, where are you going to fund? How are you going to fund that? These are the details that you need. You've come up with an announcement. Where are the details?
Congress has made it already very clear that the details will be laid out in the Congress manifesto soon. What we have launched today is the idea and the basic plan of projects which we would be doing when we come to power, and that's a crisp idea. But the details will come in the manifesto in the coming days.
But Tuhin, Sinha, government jobs, vacancies have not been filled in for years. Therefore, now on the eve of the election, to suddenly say, look, we can resolve you haven't resolved issues for 9.5 years, even with government jobs. Vacancies in government jobs
Rajdeep,
is a major issue.
Rajdeep, with some of these government jobs, one needs to look at the long-term economic viability because, like I mentioned, the nature of jobs are changing, and some of these need to be at the contractual mode. So that is one of the reasons why all of these have not been filled. But at the same time, in the last few months, 8 lakh people have been provided employment through the Rozgaar Melas, through the multiple Rozgaar Melas that have taken place across the country.
No, but that's because the government woke up to the reality a year ago. You see, you've been in power for 10 years.
We have always been, allow me to complete, we have always been abreast of the reality in the last 10 years. The total number of unicorns has gone up to 113, the valuation of which is $350 billion plus. How did it happen? Because of 10,000 Atal incubation centers playing a very crucial catalyzing role, which the Congress obviously seems to be completely ignorant of. Now, when it comes to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, 1.4 crore people have been skilled, and all of these have led to increased entrepreneurship. So, and I'm so glad that for the first time you pointed out about Rajasthan. When Congress makes all these tall promises, the biggest unemployment rate was in Rajasthan. Where have the biggest exam paper leaks taken place? Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. Where has the biggest Manrega scam taken place in recent years? Again, it is Jharkhand, one of the cases which ED is investigating against the JMM Congress government. So, before talking big, I think the Congress needs to realize its own track record. And one of the reasons why their promises don't hold is that they have a very poor deliverance, or probably people feel cheated by the
Can I just get Shankar Iyer Shankar Iyer, do you believe, therefore, that when a poll that we carried out said 71% believe that unemployment is serious or somewhat serious, does that translate into a poll pitch? Or is election and electoral behavior, in your view, disconnected from the issues of real issues like Rozgaar?
Well, the incentive process of policy and votes, I don't think they are aligned. If they were, you wouldn't have things that happening in Bihar or Jharkhand, or you wouldn't be seeing 48 lakh people applying for 60,000 jobs. So obviously that's not the case. But the other aspect, Rajdeep, that one must pay attention to is first-time voters in the past 3 elections have chosen to be rebellious of the establishment. And it is the general history of Indian elections that elections are made or parties win power or lose power on two aspects: basic freedoms and corruption. But the underlying process is driven by those who suffer the burden, which is the women and the youth. So some amount of work has happened in empowering women or giving some solace, but the youth factor is still a question mark. The issue that the Congress faces is it might have the best ideas, but do the people trust it to implement it? Do the people think that it will come to power to do it? Because the chaos of 2013, 2014, 2012 is not easily forgotten by people.
Okay.
So there is an issue of trust deficit here. And if you see in 2014 and 2019, the youth has clearly voted with the BJP. So the Congress has a really uphill task to establish the credibility of its idea.
Okay, let's leave it there. At least it's an idea. At least the Congress has thrown up something which is worthy of a deeper debate. And surely in this year of 2024, one would want more debates on critical issues like paper leaks, like who will provide quality jobs to the youth of this country.